Hey guys, and welcome back. Well, days after an Atlanta prosecutor said he would consider opening a formal investigation into James Brown's death, Brown's longtime attorney said he would have no objection if authorities wanted to examine the singer's remains. Exhume him, Buddy Dallas said in a phone interview on February 24th. Now, this was his first comments since the news of a potential investigation surfaced. He said, I don't have any feelings about it one way or the other. Now, Dallas had little to say to the media since CNN published an investigation series on Brown in early 2019. Now, he declined to answer questions for that series, citing advice for his own attorney. Now, but on the morning of February 24th, he texted a link to a February 14th story from the celebrity news website TMZ that said Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard Jr. was wasting his time examining Brown's death. Now, Dallas followed up with a phone call. I asked what he thought about the fact that more than a dozen people has called asking for an autopsy or a criminal investigation. And Dallas said, well, if he's got something to base it on, let him exhume the body. Now, many late celebrities have public grave sites where fans can pay their respects. But with the Godfather or so, nothing is that simple. Now, if you remember, after his death in Atlanta in 2006, Brown's remains were apparently placed in a crypt outside the home of one of his daughters, Deanna Brown Thomas, near Aiken, South Carolina. Now, but in 2010, another daughter alleged that the crypt was empty. Now, in 2018, when asked Deanna Brown Thomas about the claim, she neither confirmed nor denied it. Now, in 2019, Russell Balknight, the executor of Brown's estate where Brown's body was, he had no comment. Now, in late February, they asked Mr. Dallas, Brown's personal attorney, where the body was. He said that as far as he knew, it was still on the daughter's property. But it was obvious why Dallas had contacted. He saw the TMZ story as confirmation that James Brown wasn't murdered. Now, a crucial part of my investigative series was an interview with Marvin Crawford, the doctor who signs Brown's death certificate. Now, in 2017, Dr. Marvin Crawford told CNN about his suspicions that Brown's death was caused by a toxic substance. Now, the TMZ story included a purported quote from Dr. Crawford. CNN said, I said that, but I didn't say that about the drugs. Now, when asked Dr. Crawford if TMZ had quoted him accurately, he referred to the Goldie Taylor, a spokeswoman for Morehouse School of Medicine where Crawford teaches. Now, she said he's now in the middle of something that he never intended to be in the middle of. He's going to talk about it in a court of law if he's compelled to. Now, indeed, Dr. Crawford would be an important witness in an investigation of Brown's death. So would Andre White, a longtime friend of Brown, who told CNN in 2017 he believed Brown was murdered. Now, on February 12th, when a songwriter named Jacquees Hollander told prosecutors her suspicions about Brown's death, she suggested that they talk to Crawford and White. Now, the DA expressed interest in interviewing them, but Hollander said that when she spoke to them years earlier, both men seemed afraid. Now, for years, White had claimed to have a vial of Brown's blood he'd taken from the hospital in the moments after Brown's death. Now, Hollander told the DA she urged White to bring the blood to his office for testing. Now, they asked her, to your knowledge, Howard asked her, that blood to date has not been tested. It has not, Hollander said. He told me that if he did, they gonna kill him. That if he brought that blood in, he signed his death certificate. Wow. Now, before they were quoted in the series that CNN published in February 2019, both men seemed eager to solve what they considered the mystery of James Brown's death. That changed after the story was published. White didn't return any calls or text messages. Now, finally, he answered, and he angrily told CNN to go away. And trying to reconcile Andre White with the one who told him he could fight until he died, trying to find out what happened to James Brown. Now, likewise, Dr. Crawford told CNN he stopped looking for answers in Brown's death. I received good, wise counsel, he said on the phone in May 2019. Leave it alone, Marvin. Now, given the DA's interest in the case, it's worth revisiting what Dr. Crawford and White told CNN. Until now, CNN has published only a small fraction of those interviews. It could have got him killed. Now, they first talked to them in the summer of 2017 after Hollander told them they shared their suspicions with her. I was surprised when White agreed to meet, and even more surprised when he said Dr. Crawford would join us. I'm talking to you against the advice of everybody, White said on the phone on August 23rd as he sat in White's car and waited for Dr. Crawford. He hinted that some parts of the story would never come to light. It's just certain things that I have had to take to my grave, he said. Now, the doctor arrived. CNN journalist walked into the sanctuary of the First St. Paul African Methodist Episcopal Church, where Dr. Crawford served as pastor. Now, Dr. Crawford and White sat on a pew and told the story together. Dr. White had been White's doctor since the 90s, and White had been James Brown's friends for decades. Now, Brown was ill in December 2006, and White persuaded him to see Crawford at a hospital in Atlanta. Crawford said he treated Brown on December 23rd for a mild heart attack and a mild case of congestive heart failure. And he improved fast, Dr. Crawford said. Boom, boom, boom. By 5 o'clock on the 24th, he probably could have walked out of the hospital if he had wanted. But we wouldn't let him go. We wouldn't tell him to go yet. Now, it was Christmas Eve. Dr. Crawford and White went home to their families. Brown stayed at the hospital to continue his recovery. Around 1 a.m., Crawford got a phone call. Brown had stopped breathing. Crawford said he rushed back to the hospital, turning questions over in his mind. He changed too fast, Dr. Crawford said. He was a patient I would never have predicted would have coded. But he died that night, and I did raise a question, what went wrong in that room? Now, Brown was dead at the age of 73. The official causes were a heart attack and fluid in the lungs. Now, Dr. Crawford wanted to know why Brown had taken such a sudden turn for the worse. So he spoke with Brown's daughter, Yamama, about having an autopsy done. She declined the autopsy. When I asked her about the decision in 2018, she did not answer the question. Also notable to Crawford and White was the behavior of Yamama's husband, Darren Loomer. They threatened to call security on her husband at the time he arrived, Crawford said, because he was irate. He accused them of killing James Brown. Now, Loomer, like many others in Brown's orbit, apparently made the allegation without naming the alleged culprits. In stories involving James Brown, they and them often make anonymous appearances. She said, I was surprised he said it so open and so boldly, but he sure said it. Now, White also said, I can't say for sure, but I could have got him killed. But it could have got him killed. Now, White said in it passing, almost casually, as if I would know what he meant, and I did. A few months after Brown's death, Loomer appeared on local TV news and called for an investigation. He had also made enemies in his business dealing. Now, after that, he was shot to death in 2008, and what police said appeared to be a contract killing. No one has been charged with his murder. I don't know who killed Darren Loomer or why. The authorities have never publicly named a suspect, but Andre White, a longtime resident of the James Brown ecosystem, saw the chronology and wondered, someone killed James Brown. Darren Loomer wouldn't shut up about James Brown murder, and then someone silenced him forever. Wow. Now, even after that, the mysterious Vial of Blood, no one could blame you for being skeptical of White's story about receiving the vial of James Brown's blood. I've never seen the blood, much less had he analyzed it, so I can't say for sure that it ever existed. But what stands out to me on repeated listings in the way Crawford helps White tell the story. Whenever he died, White said, about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, Dr. Crawford interjected. In between the death and him going to the morgue, White said, and got on with the story. Now, inside Brown's hospital room, shortly after Brown died, a hospital worker told him she suspected that something unusual had happened to Brown. She says, that's residue in that tube. And if you think I'm lying, let me get a vial of blood and give it to you. Hoping to clarify, he cut out with a question. So the two of you are standing in Brown's, like above his body, basically. In the room, Crawford said, answering the question I'd asked White. And this woman is looking at one of the breathing tubes, I said. Or what would you call it? IV line, Crawford said. And she says to you, she thinks, what, it's drug residue, I asked White. That's all she was thinking, Crawford answered for White again. When asked, both men said they didn't know the woman's identity. She's a nurse, Dr. Crawford said. She's one of the RNs on the floor. I don't know her name, though. Now, White continued his story. He said the nurse expressed suspicion to him about a man who had apparently visited Brown's hospital room shortly before he died. And then she mentioned again what appeared to be residue in Brown's IV line. Right, Dr. Crawford said, listening as White told the story. And I tell you what I'll do, White said. The nurse told him, let me get some blood and I'll give you a tube and you test it. And she gave it to me. White said, don't get me in trouble. That's what she said to me. I asked White exactly where the blood came from. Out of Mr. Brown, White said. Draw it out of the IV line, Dr. Crawford said. Just draw it out of the IV line. I asked White to describe the vial of blood. I ain't gonna tell you everything, White said, and Dr. Crawford laughed. Later, I asked White to give me the vial of blood so CNN could have it tested, but White declined. Now, when the officials come, White said, and I know they're who they are, it's gonna be tested. Yes, sir, Dr. Crawford said. And Doc knows, White said. White thought about the death of his friend and he struggled with emotion. In the hospital, being cared for, and you kill him, he said. That's no way to treat a dog, especially somebody that I love. I'm gonna fight till I die trying to find out what happened. Now, Dr. Crawford and White's story raised one obvious question. Why didn't they immediately report their suspicions to the police? Now, their answer was complicated. They said they called Brown's advisor, David Cannon, and Buddy Dallas, his longtime attorney, in the hours after his death, and Cannon asked them not to go public with their suspicions. Now, Cannon did not respond to a list of questions from CNN, and he died in 2018. Now, Dr. Crawford said it was possible that Brown had willingly taken illegal drugs in the hospital, and if so, the doctor believed his family had the right to keep it quiet. Now, White said he did speak to friends connected with the Atlanta Police Department, but he maintained that he couldn't get anyone interested in the case. An acquaintance in law enforcement confirmed to me that he helped White arrange a meeting with the District Attorney Howard, but White said the meeting was postponed and never rescheduled. Wow. Now, Dr. Crawford says someone from the APD interviewed him around this time, and he referred the investigator to White, but it's not clear whether anyone contacted White. I requested the documents under the Georgia Open Records Act, but campus wrote back, "We have no records responsive to this request." Wow. Now, after the series was published in early 2019, they got an email from a Shauna Quinones, a LA woman who said she worked for Brown and had an affair with him in the 90s. She had also gotten to know Charles Bobbitt, Brown's longtime personal manager. And she said late that night, Bobbitt left Brown's room for a few minutes. He needed to make a phone call and get himself a bottle of Ensure. When Bobbitt returned to the room, Brown said his chest was burning and he couldn't breathe. Now, this is Quinos, the woman, explanation based on what she says Bobbitt told her. He was supposed to be watching Brown, keeping him safe, and he was haunted by the possibility that someone had done something to Brown while he was out of the room. "Mr. Bobbitt, I'm gone," Brown said just before he died. "They got me." Wow, guys. I mean, this sounds like a movie on Lifetime, which I'm sure they, when they get everything together, I'm sure they're going to make this out a movie. But can you believe it? And why would they want him killed? Well, I guess he was worth more dead than alive. And you know, everybody holler Illuminati. Was this Illuminati? Who knows? But they are going to exhume James Brown's body, and they're going to find out if someone did give him something. That is wild. I mean, they wasted all this time. People have died. People have gotten killed about this. Wow. Murder for hire. And do you think his daughters were in with it? Because if someone, my father had passed, and someone implicated, you need to do an autopsy. Hey, I would say, fine, do it. I wouldn't, say no. I don't want an autopsy. Why? Why not? Hey guys, well, you know now. We'll be following this story closely. What y'all think? Press that comment button and let's talk about it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry I went on and on, but hey, this was, something new for me. So I just wanted to let you in on it. Thank you guys for watching again. Hope you will like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, important, be blessed, y'all.